all of these possibilities begin to arise for you. Suddenly, the things that you thought were not possible become possible for you. Suddenly, the things that you had previously in your life might not align with you anymore. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Lorena. I am a self-concept coach, and I support heart-centered women in changing their self-concepts, shifting their identity, and embodying their highest potential so they can align with their authentic soul desires and become a match to everything they deeply want in their lives and make it a physical, tangible manifestation. I would really appreciate it if you left a like on this video. It supports the algorithm tremendously, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please leave a subscribe as well. I upload videos every week and I love to just give so much to you. I also have a bunch of free resources linked below in the description, from free guidebooks to free masterclasses on topics like money mindset, love and relationships, changing your self-concept and your state of being, approaching manifestation holistically and through a grounded and emotionally integrated approach. So make sure you check that out also. So today we're going to talk about shifting your identity, shifting your self-concept, my absolute favorite topic in the world. It's obviously a very broad topic, a very deep topic. So today I am going to give you a very simple tool that you can apply into your life today to see tremendous changes in your self-concept, in your identity, and ultimately, therefore, in your physical reality as well. But before we get into that, let's talk about why it's important to change your identity, to change your self-concept. We all operate from an ego identity that we have developed over time through the experiences that we have made. And who we think we are is not necessarily who we truly authentically are. A lot of the idea of who you think you are might not be who you are. That, amongst other things, makes up your self-concept. So the concept you have of yourself greatly impacts the reality you get to experience, because it really impacts how you show up in the world and what you believe you're able to achieve. It impacts your thoughts and your feelings and just everything about you, and ultimately how you are and who you are directly impacts the people you call into your life, the experiences you call into your life, and what you're able to manifest. So your self-concept essentially projects outward into your reality and determines your reality to a very large part. So if you feel blocked in manifesting something, you will be operating from a self-concept, from an identity that does not align with the reality that manifestation belongs to. Or in other words, you are operating from an identity, from a self-concept for which this manifestation is simply not possible. It's not in the realm of possibility for your current self-concept. So in order to be able to call in this manifestation, this new future, this new reality, you need to first shift your identity. You need to first shift your self-concept so you're even open to that possibility and open to receiving that potential of what you desire to manifest. It's important to make that distinction, because the reason it feels impossible is because for your current self-concept, it might be impossible. That's why we need to change it. That's why we need to change our self-concept. Because when you shift your self-concept, when you shift your identity, all of these possibilities begin to arise for you. Suddenly, the things that you thought were not possible become possible for you. Suddenly, the things that you had previously in your life might not align with you anymore. It's also important to say, and I say this all the time, but I am going to get a bit more specific as to why right now, changing your self-concept is more important than the actual manifestation. First of all, your self-concept directly impacts your manifestation. It's a projection. Your manifestation will be a reflection of your self-concept. So it does have a direct impact on it. But the other piece is your manifestation is an outcome, right? And if you just think about the outcome, you are going to be much less likely to achieve it. But if you think about who is the person who already has that outcome, you are going to automatically operate in a way that makes that outcome possible. So an example is, if you would like to become really fit and athletic, you maybe want to lose weight. If you think about the end result of what you would look like, it can feel really far away. But if you think about, well, who is that person that walks around with that figure, with those muscles? Well, that's likely a person that goes to the gym a lot. So let me become the person that goes to the gym a lot, and the outcome will be an automatic byproduct of the identity that you will begin to operate from. So let's talk about the importance of transforming your self-concept versus just making surface level changes. And what I'm going to give you today is essentially a surface level change. So we're not going to talk about this complete transformation of self because it's simply too big of a topic. I have an entire coaching program revolving around that. So there's no quick fix for it. As much as I would love to tell you that there is, it's not a quick overnight fix or shift. But there are some small steps that you can begin to take today, and that will already lead to transformation. But a lot of people only approach changing their self-concept through a surface level approach. They only think about, well, how would I think and how would I feel? Which is great. It's definitely a part of your identity, but on a much bigger scale, your self-concept is about who you become. So you're becoming a different version of yourself, which radically impacts the actions you take. You're not just thinking differently, you're not just feeling differently, you're also acting differently. You're showing up differently. So thinking differently, feeling differently, changing your thoughts, being delusional, my favorite, is how most people approach changing their self-concept, which is a very surface level approach. You can get to a certain point with that and get certain results with that, but the deeper core will not be transformed. A true shift in your self-concept is a complete transformation of self. That means you're changing your thoughts, you're changing your feelings, you're changing your actions, you're changing your behaviors, you're changing your habits. Your relationships will change, your circumstances around you will change, everything will change, which can be scary, to be honest. I think a lot of people have resistance to even going there because people are scared of change, but this is going to be welcome change. This is going to be the change that will enable you to live the life that you desire to live. And because it's a complete transformation of self, because it's not an overnight shift, that's why it's hard. It is hard and it takes time, and it should be, because it does build over time. Now, I know we all want things really fast because that seems easy, but actually if you take your time with it, and if you follow an integrated approach, if you have a good strategy, if you have a good process, if you have good support, if you take it step by step, you are actually going to see much greater results and much more sustainable results. There's another distinction that I want to make before I give you a task, and that is the distinction between becoming your future self versus pretending to be your future self. So this goes into this complete transformation that I just spoke about. Most people who try to change their self-concept and who try to step into their future self do so by thinking about that version of them rather than becoming that version of them. So what that will do is you'll end up in the realm of pretending versus being, which is a big difference. It's a significant difference, because if you're just in the realm of pretending, you're not going to see the results you want to see. It's going to feel fake, it's going to feel inauthentic, and you're just not going to see the impact that you desire. So to put this differently, remember how I said, for your current self-concept, there's a lot of possibilities that don't exist, that would exist for another self-concept. Well, if you stay in the realm of pretending to be your future self rather than actually transforming into this version of yourself, you are still going to be in that old state of consciousness. When you still do that from your old or current state of consciousness, you are not going to see the results that you would see if you had actually transformed into this new self-concept, this new identity. There's a gap here. Don't forget that your future self or your new identity, your new self-concept is going to show up differently from how you are showing up now. It doesn't matter what the external circumstances are. Your millionaire self is going to show up differently from your 100K or 50K self. She's going to show up differently. But it doesn't actually matter that she has millions in her bank account. What matters is how she feels and how she shows up with that. How she carries herself, how she talks to the people around you, the actions she takes. She's gonna be bold, she's gonna be brave, she's gonna take risks, she's gonna embody luxury, if that's what you want. What the actual amount in the bank account is actually irrelevant for the identity. Because you can also have millions in your bank account and walk around as if you were poor. The version of you that's in a loving relationship versus the version of you that is single is going to show up differently. But you can embody that version before the external circumstances reflect it. Work with the identity, not the result. So let's say you want to be rich. Become the person, become the version of you that knows how to make money, not the version of you that pretends that you have more money. Pretending to have more money is not going to get you more money. But if you show up from the identity of, I know how to make money, that's what's going to lead to the actions that are actually going to make you money. If you want to be in a relationship, become the version of you that is open to love, that is receptive, that is brave, that takes risks, that is okay with having her heart broken. Don't show up from the version of you that is closed off because you're pretending that you're already in a relationship. That's not the self-concept that you want to operate from. You want to operate from the self-concept that is actually open and receptive to love. So all of this brings me to a very important point and an action step that you can take today. And that is that part of what creates your identity, and you will have seen this from this video already, I was speaking a lot about the actions and how you show up. And that's because part of what creates your identity are your habits. Your habits, your daily or regular habits create your identity. And your habits have the potential to shift your identity for that reason also. Now, part of why it's so hard to change your self-concept, to shift your identity, is number one, your shadow, the unconscious part of your psyche, which I do have videos on, so I will link that somewhere above my head, is somewhere in your subconscious, which by definition is subconscious. So there are pieces, belief systems, patterns, thoughts, feelings, identities that are part of you that you're not aware of, and that is something that needs integrating also. The other aspect is it's hard to change your identity because your habits play into it, and it's really hard to change your behavior. It's hard to change your lifestyle. If you want to radically transform your lifestyle, that is challenging. Right? If you've never gone to the gym before and you want to become a person that goes to the gym every day, that is challenging. If you've been eating meat all your life and you decide to be vegan, that is challenging. And I'm speaking from experience here because I'm vegan, and when I initially made that decision, there was an adjustment period. I would never go back, ever, but it was an adjustment period in the beginning, and now it's my new normal. Now it's normal. So changing your identity is hard because it's hard to change your behavior. And to change your identity, you can start by changing your behavior. So someone who speaks a lot about this also actually is James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits, great book, and he does a lot of work on habits in general, and he speaks about the connection that it has to your identity. But this is important because if you have an idea of who you desire to be, of the self-concept that you wish to embody, then think about what habits would that version of me have? What would she do every day? What would she do regularly? And can I start implementing that into my life? And also bear in mind and catch yourself here, because you may be thinking about these things from your old state of consciousness, from your old self-concept. I see this all the time, where people have an illusion of an idea of what something may feel or be like because they're still thinking about it from their old state of consciousness. And if we connect habits and identity, you can also see why it's not so easy to change it and why it's not an overnight shift. At least not if it's something that you want to be sustainable. It can only happen through consistent changes. And by that, by the way, I don't mean daily affirmations, unless you want to become the version of you who says 1,000 affirmations a day. Okay, let me know in the comments below, what is a habit that you are starting from today that aligns with your new self-concept? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.